fifth graders. So we're going to continue reading our book Hoot by Carl Hiassen. Let's just kind of talk about what happened earlier. So in our book, we meet a character named Roy, and he's riding in a school bus, and another boy comes up behind him and kind of smashes his face against the window. He's getting bullied. And he notices this other boy running alongside the bus, but he doesn't have any shoes on. And Roy thinks that's really strange. And he's not running towards the bus. He's running like past the bus. And he's school age. So Roy's like, "What are you doing? Why are you not getting on the bus? And why don't you have on any shoes?" Then the next part of the pages we read was an officer named Officer Delinko, and he has to go to a construction site. And at the construction site, there's a man there named Curly, and he's really mad. And he's like, "These kids are vandalizing this construction site. It's going to take us weeks to get back to what we're supposed to be. Like, I want you to press charges." He was really mad. And the officer's like, "Well, I mean, there's not too much that I can do because they didn't, like, destroy anything." And Officer Delinko notices that there's these little holes all over the construction site, and inside of the holes are little owls that live there. So we're going to keep reading now. All day long, Roy couldn't stop thinking about the strange running boy. Between classes, he scanned the faces in the hallway on the chance that the boy had come to school late. Maybe he'd been hurrying home, Roy thought, to change clothes and put on some shoes. But Roy didn't see any kids who resembled the one who had jumped over the big pointy-eared dog. Maybe he's still running, Roy thought as he ate lunch. Florida was made for running. Roy had never seen any place so flat. Back in Montana, you had steep, craggy mountains that rose 10,000 feet into the clouds. Here, the only hills were man-made highway bridges, smooth, gentle slopes of concrete. Then Roy remembered the heat and the humidity, which on some days seemed to suck the very meat out of his lungs. As a long run in the Florida sun would be torture, he thought. A kid would have to be tough as nails to make a routine of that. A boy named Garrett sat down across from Roy. Roy nodded high and Garrett nodded high, and then both of them went back to eating the gooey macaroni on their lunch trays. Being the new kid, Roy always sat alone at the end of the table whenever he was in the cafeteria. Roy was an old pro at being the new kid. Trace Middle was the sixth school he had attended since he'd started going to school. Coconut Cove was the 10th town his family had lived in since Roy could remember. Roy's father worked for the government. His mother said they moved so often because Roy's father was very good at his job, whatever that was, and frequently got promoted. Apparently, that's how the government rewarded good work, by transferring you from one place to another. "Hey," said Garrett, "you got a skateboard?" "No, but I got a snowboard." Garrett hooted. "What for?" "Where I used to live, it snowed a lot," Roy said. "You should learn to skateboard. It's awesome, man." "Oh, I know how to skateboard. I just don't have one." "Then you should get one," Garrett said. "Me and my friends, we do the major malls. You should come." "That'd be cool." Roy tried to sound enthusiastic. He didn't like shopping malls, but he appreciated that Garrett was trying to be friendly. Garrett was a D student, but he was popular in school because he goofed around in class and made farting noises whenever a teacher called him out. Garrett was the king of phony farts at Trace Middle. His most famous trick was farting out the first line of the Pledge of Allegiance during homeroom. Ironically, Garrett's mother was a guidance counselor at Trace Middle. Roy figured she used up her guiding skills every day at school and was too worn out to deal with Garrett when she got home. "Yeah, we skate hard until the security guards run us off," Garrett was saying. "And then we do the parking lots until we get chased out of there, too. It's a blast." "Sweet," Roy said, though cruising a mall seemed like a pretty dull way to spend a Saturday morning. He was looking forward to his first airboat ride in the Everglades. His dad had promised to take him one of these weekends. "Are there any other schools around here?" Roy asked Garrett. "Why? You sick of this one already?" Garrett cackled and plunged a spoon into a lump of clammy apple crisp. "No way. The reason I asked is I saw this weird kid today at one of the bus stops. Except he didn't get on the bus. And he's not here at school," Roy said. "So I figured he must not go to Trace." I don't know anyone who doesn't go to Trace, Garrett said. There's a Catholic school up in Fort Myers, but that's a long ways off. Was he wearing a uniform, this kid? Because the nuns make everyone wear uniforms. No, he definitely didn't have on a uniform. You sure he was in middle school? Maybe he goes to Graham, Garrett suggested. Graham was a public high school nearest to Coconut Grove. Roy said he didn't look big enough for high school. Maybe he was a midget. Garrett grinned and made a farty noise with one of his cheeks. I don't think so, said Roy. You said he was weird? He wasn't wearing any shoes, Roy said, and he was running like crazy. Maybe somebody was after him. Did he look scared? Not really. Garrett nodded. High school kid, bet you $5. To Roy, that still didn't make sense. Classes at Graham High started 55 minutes earlier than the classes at Trace. The high school kids were off the streets long before the middle school buses finished their routes. So he was skipping class. Kids skip class all the time, Garrett said. You want your dessert? Roy pushed his tray across the table. You ever skip school? Yeah, Garrett said sarcastically. Bunch of times. You ever skip alone? Garrett thought for a moment. No, it's always me and my friends. See, that's what I mean. So maybe the kid's just a psycho. Who cares? Or an outlaw, said Roy. Garrett looked skeptical. An outlaw? You mean like Jesse James? No, not exactly, Roy said, though there had been something wild in that kid's eyes. Garrett laughed again. An outlaw. That's rich, Elderhart. You got a seriously whacked imagination. Yeah, said Roy, but already he was thinking about a plan. He was determined to find the running boy.